And welcome back to Pokemon Team Videos. Today, we have one from the Mighty Twins, Tuckanella, and Mission Palm Marshall. So, I a while back got asked to do a Pokemon team for the Young Six. The whole Young Six from My Little Pony. Now, obviously, I couldn't do a full six-man team for each of them, because that would have been 36 different Pokemon in one video, and that just wasn't going to happen. But I did one for each of them, and ultimately it got, broken down that each individual character would eventually get their own Pokemon team as well. Now, I know I've done Smolder, and I think I have also done, I've done one other one that I can't remember, I think, at this time. But today we have Yona the Yak. What is Yona the Yak's Pokemon team? So the unfortunate law, short and sweet of it is, most of these My Little Pony characters just don't have enough character or like abilities or anything like that to really have very like in-depth competent Pokemon teams. Particularly when you look at Sandbar, that was the other one I did. Yeah, Sandbar, the horse, the pony. It's like, and yeah, I mean, he's just a pony. That's all he was. So I was like, that was very difficult. And Yona's no exception. Now, there are other characters on the Young Six that are easier to manage. There are, because they actually have other abilities to them. Unfortunately, Yona is just a yak who's physically strong. So right from the gate, I'm like, all right, I got to get like as much of the bovine Pokemon as possible. And you'd actually be surprised how few bovine Pokemon there actually are. So we obviously have Tauros. Tauros will go on the team. That makes 100% sense. And that Tauros is a bull, mind you, but it's a bovine. Yaks are part of the bovine family. They're related to oxes, to bulls, to buffalo, them. I mean, they're their own species, but they're related in that sense. Also, I'm like, all right, well, Yona's also female, and we also have an actual cow Pokemon. Only one cow Pokemon, amazingly, so Milk Tank goes on the team. Makes 100% sense. Plus, Yona is known for having very large amounts of strength, and if you've ever played Pokemon Silver or Gold, you know how haxed Whitney is, so for that part in the game. So there you go. Then I'm like, okay, well, there's also the mighty Bouffalant. Where's Bouffalant? Where are you? Bouffalant? There you are, Bouffalant. Mighty Bouffalant. And I mean, Bouffalant, again, is mostly just a bull, though. Although Bouffalant actually does have more yak-like traits than some other Pokemon. It's got the very large horns. It's got the thick fro. Though I don't... What if they give it a fro? I don't quite get it. It shouldn't have been Buffafro or Buffafro a lot. I don't know why it's got a fro, quite frankly. But as of the large rings, now I do believe it's actually not based off of bison or a buffalo so much as it's based off a certain type of buffalo that does have these very long horns. But it's actually the closest to a yak we actually have in the entirety of Pokemon, I think. So that got rid of that. So I'm going through it, and I'm like, okay, I know I had those three. I'm like, there's more bovine Pokemon, right? There's more bull, cow, buffalo-based Pokemon, right? Well, actually, there isn't. I mean, I looked through like the entire decks. I'm like, there really isn't any other cow or buffalo-based bovine Pokemon until we get that Minotaur Fire Starter. Whenever we get that thing. So I'm like, okay, I have to now be a bit more extra here. I gotta be like, okay, think outside the box. So all right, she's a yak. Yaks live up in the mountains, usually in like the Himalayas area. Not strictly Himalayas, but in that area, that's where they're most commonly seen and found. So I need a Pokemon that's maybe like very thick fur, shaggy, maybe looks like a yak, but isn't, and maybe an ice type. And there we have Piloswine. Piloswine here. Whoop, I'm moving Yona. I meant to move Piloswine. There we go. Yeah, Piloswine here. While Piloswine isn't based off anything that's like cow related, it's actually based more off of like a pig and a mammoth combined. Like a boar and a mammoth. And then obviously Mammothswine is based more off a mammoth, even though it doesn't have the trunk, which I find stupid. But then it gives us a chance to get a woolly mammoth Pokemon further down the line, so who knows. It's still, I think, even though it's not clearly a yak, it very much looks like a yak. I mean, it's got tusks, not horns, but it does look like a yak to some degree, although it's shaped very odd. And again, I'm moving Yona, not Piloswine. There we go. Whoop, there we are. So I felt Pilot Sign was a decent Pokemon to have in there. After that, I'm like, okay, what's the next closest thing to a yak I can think of? Like, to a bovine or a cow. I'm like, I'm looking through them. Like, there actually aren't. When you really break down, like, the mammal Pokemon, there aren't a lot of, like, really shaggy mammal Pokemon. I mean, there are mammal Pokemon that have fur. Obviously, they're based off mammals, but it's actually not as easy as you think to find, like, really shaggy yak or cow-like Pokemon. Ultimately, though, I'm like, well, in that area of the world, too, we do have Bactrian camels. So, Camerupt, I thought, I mean, it's a fire type, but we're allowed to I put an ice type here, and doesn't have any ice ability except being out in the cold. So Camerupt, I felt, was a reasonable exception. It's based off of Bactrian camel, which, unlike dromedaries, the one-hump camel, Bactrians are actually more known to be in the colder climates. So it does, and so I do think it works out at least a bit more closely to a yak substitute than something else. Some of the other Pokemon come out, like Wooloo, for instance. I wasn't going to put Wooloo, despite the fact that because it's too different from a yak. Whereas camels, while camels are their own species, I don't know if they're closer related to cows and bovines than they are something like a sheep or a goat. I know basically they are their own species, but if you were to ask me which I think they're more closer related to, I'd say they're more closer related to a yak than a sheep. So that leaves our last Pokemon. I'm like, okay, I'm now really struggling. What was something else about? I'm looking at the personality, and that's, again, the personality of these characters are so like, oh, they're friendly, outgoing, energetic, speaks broken English. None of that helps. And then there is this one thing where Yona did have arachnophobia. I'm like, okay, well, that'd be great if she didn't have if she actually had a love of spiders, that would work. But she did learn to get over the arachnophobia thanks to a spider, I believe, like Spinda or Spidely, whatever. She got over the arachnophobia is what I'm getting at here. So her history with spiders and her fear of spiders and then overcoming them is a part of her character. So I'm like, okay, I can make that work. Which spider Pokemon do we have here? And we really don't have, when you really break it down, we have plenty of caterpillars, plenty of little worms, we have plenty of chrysalises, plenty of moths, plenty of butterflies. Don't really have a lot of spiders. We have Gavantula, which is a big tarantula, and we have Ariados. I went with Ariados, and technically Ariados, Spinarak and Ariados are both technically spiders. Though when you really look at it, it's like, is it really a spider? Technically, it's supposed to be a spider. So I went with Ariados on this. It's the more basic of the spiders. I could have gone with Gavantula, but it's a bit more complicated of a spider. It's an electric spider, which I'm like, So I felt Ariados is fine but beyond that, and then there's Dewpider and Dewspider, or Dewpider, the water spiders from Alola. And yeah, I wasn't about to do that. So ultimately, that I felt was the best Yona team I could make at the time. Tauros, Miltank, and Buffalont for obviously the obvious cow aspects of a yak slash Yona, the bovine aspects. Piloswine because it does seem closest, weirdly enough, to a yak, even though it's not even actually close to being a yak. Camerupt, due to the fact that Bactrian camels are in that area of the world as well, and they're at least similar in some respects to the yak. And then Ariados to highlight Yona's arachnophobia that she eventually overcame. So, yeah, that would be my Yona the Yak from My Little Pony's Pokemon team. That's the thing about doing these types of videos is that I take any and all requests, and for requests like this, I'll just take it. I'll do what I can with it. But sometimes I'm going to get a Pokemon or a character that's so weird to do a team for. And you might think, well, this is pretty basic. No, it's a My Little Pony character. That's kind of weird. But at the same time, I'm going to do it. I'll do it. Come on. So ultimately, yes, that is, I think, Yona the Yak's Pokemon team. But that is just my opinion. What do you think your Pokemon team would look like? Put in the comments below and let me know. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching. I'll see you folks next time. Later. I got Who Would Win today and Box Office later. So have a good one.